Hey everyone, if you're a project manager or you're aspiring to become one, here are 5 functions in Excel that you need to know. By knowing these 5 functions, you'll be able to complete your project management tasks as well as analyze data more easily. And with that said, let's get into the video. Our first function is going to be the aggregate function. What we have on the screen is an estimate for our basement renovation project. So we have a couple of columns like our task grouping, our detailed task, the cost per task, and the start and end dates. What we also have is the cost per month. Now let's say that we want to see the total cost per month. One way that we can do that is by using the sum function. So up here, I'll just type in the sum function and then double click and then click and drag and select all of the cells within the April column. And I'll copy over that formula to the rest of the months. And there we have our total cost per month. But let's say that we only want to see the total cost per month for, let's say, quotes and permits. So what I'll do is I'll use the auto filter here and select quotes and permits and click OK. What we'll see now is that the total cost per month numbers have not changed. We still have $13,866 in April, $29,000 in May, $7,000 in June, and $517 in July. What we would expect to see is some number in April 2023 and $0 for the rest of the months. This is where the aggregate function comes into play. So what I'll do is I'll unfilter first, and then I'll enter in the function up here. So double click. So there's a lot of things that we can do using the aggregate function, like taking the average or counting, but in this example, we want to be able to sum. So we can choose the sum function here, which will enter in a 9 for us. Then hit comma, and we have a couple of options to pick from. And since we're filtering, we want to hide rows. And in this case, we want to ignore the hidden rows. So we'll just double click that option. Then use our comma to move on to our next argument. So here, we're going to select all of the cells in the column, just like we did using the sum function, and then hit the enter key. So we still have the same number as if we had just used the sum function, and we'll copy over that formula for the rest of the months. So now we have the exact same result as just using the sum function. So let's filter for our quotes and permits again and see what happens. So just click the filter and then select quotes and permits, then click OK. Now we can see that the cost per month for quotes and permits is $13,866 in April and $0 for the rest of the months. And this will work for all of the other groupings too. So let's pick dry, paint, and tile. And now we can see the numbers changing to be specific to just what you're filtering for. Here's one more reason why the aggregate function is so useful. So we talked about the option before where you can ignore hidden rows. Now let's say that we have an error in one of the cells that we're trying to add up. We can go back into our aggregate function, and instead of the 5, let's see what other options we have to pick from. So this is what we had before, but we can also use option 3, where it'll ignore hidden rows and error values, as well as some other things. So if I double click this and click enter, now the error will not appear in our result. So in summary, if you find yourself needing to add up data that is filtered or has hidden rows, or even has errors within them, use the aggregate function to add those cells only and ignore errors. Our next function is using the SUMIFS function, which is one of my personal favorites. So in this example, we have our weekly employee timesheet. So you can see that we have our employees listed in this column, the department that they work in, the week ending date, and then their regular hours, overtime hours, and their total hours. Now let's say that we want to see the total number of hours for only people in the marketing department. We can do that using the SUMIFS function. So what I'll do is I'll go up to our cell and then enter in the SUMIFS function. Now what it asks us to do is select the range of cells that we want to sum. So in this case, it's our total hours. then use the comma to move on to the next argument. And now we want to be able to select the range where our criteria exists. So in this case, it's our department. And then we need to add our criteria, which is going to be the word marketing, which is right here. Then hit the enter key, and we can see that the total number of hours is 263. Now let's do this again, but for the finance department. So I'm going to type in the function, double click, select the sum range, which is our total hours, and then our criteria range is department again, and we're going to select finance. Hit enter, and we can see that they've worked 128 hours. This function is very powerful because you can actually use more than one criteria. So let's say that we wanted to see the number of hours worked for the operations department, but only for the week ending of May 5th, 2023. So I'm going to type in the function one more time, double click, select the sum range, which has been the same, and then our criteria range 1 will be the department, and we'll select operations, and then we'll add another criteria range to our week ending date, and then select our week ending date here. Hit enter, and now we can see that the operations department in week ending May 5th, 2023 has worked 86 hours. So if you're ever looking to add numbers together that meet certain criteria, the SUMIFS function is the way to go. Before we move on to the next function, make sure to hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Also, a lot of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel already, so if you don't mind hitting the subscribe button too, I greatly appreciate it. Both of these things are free to do and will help the channel grow. Alright, let's get back into the video. So our next function is the VLOOKUP function. And what we have on the screen is our resource plant estimate. We have the employee name, the department that they work in, and the hours required for them to complete the project. We also have the hourly rate and our total cost. Right now the total cost is 0 because we don't have an hourly rate yet. What we want to do is bring in the hourly rate based on the department into this table so that we can see the total cost per person. So we can do that using the VLOOKUP function. So what I'll do is select the cell and then type in VLOOKUP and then double click, and our lookup value is going to be the department. Now our table array is going to be the cell range that contains the department and the hourly rate. So I'm just going to select these cells here and then go on to the next argument. Now because the hourly rate is the second column in our table array, our column index number is going to be 2. Then moving on to the next argument. So the range lookup is where we want to specify an approximate match or an exact match. Now in this case, we want to see the exact words project oversight in our table array. So we're going to select false. And then press enter. And we can see that the hourly rate $80 was returned. And then our total cost is $2,880. Now what I'll do is I'll double click the fill handle, and what we'll see is a bunch of errors. Now if we look into some of these errors, what we'll see is that the table array has actually shifted down as the formulas have been copied. So what we need to do is make a slight adjustment to our initial function. So let's go back into our function up here, and what we need to do is lock the cells in place. We can do this by using the F4 key. And this will insert $signs, meaning that the cells are locked in place. Then we can press the enter key again, and then use the fill handle to copy the cells down for the rest of the employees. Now we can see that the hourly rates have successfully been brought in and our total cost has been calculated. So use the VLOOKUP function if you ever need to bring in information from one table into another. Our next function is the if function. So what we have on the screen is an issue tracking file, which is used to track the status of issues that a project is experiencing. So here we have key pieces of information such as the description, the owner, the importance, the date that the issue was entered, the target resolution date, and the date that the issue was actually resolved. What we want to focus on here is when the issue was actually resolved versus when it was targeted to. In other words, we want to see if the owner was late in resolving the issue. Here we can use the if function to see if the date within the date resolved column is greater than the date that's within the target resolution date column. So what I'm going to do is select the cell and then enter in the function, double click, and we're going to perform our logical test. So I'm going to select the date here and then use the greater than sign and then select the target resolution date. The value of true argument is what we want to show if the logical test returns true. So in this case, if the date resolved is greater than the targeted resolution date, I want it to say late. So I'm going to type in the word late, surrounded by double quotation marks. Now the value if false argument is what we want to show if the logical test returns false. So in this case, I'm going to type in not late. Then press enter. Now what we can see is that the if function returned the word late, and that's because the date that the issue was resolved is greater than the targeted date. Now what we'll do is use the fill handle to copy the function down for the rest of the rows. So we can see in this row that the if function returned not late because the date resolved is actually before or less than the targeted resolution date. So use the if function if you ever want to return something specific based on a certain condition. Our last function is the round function. So what we have on the screen is our total cost for the project as well as the incentive percentage that we have in place for good performance. So what we want to do is calculate the total cost plus the incentive, but not stop there. We want to be able to round that number based on a certain number of digits. So let's first calculate the total cost plus the incentive. So here I'm going to select the cell, use the equal sign, select the total cost, and multiply it by the percentage. So in brackets, I'll type in 1 plus the percentage, close bracket, and then hit enter. So the total cost plus the incentive is roughly $21 million. Now let's use the round function to round this number to a certain number of digits. So in the cell, I'm going to type in the round function, double click, and then select our number, and then use the comma, and in our number digits argument, I'll type in 2. Then hit enter, and that's what our number looks like rounded to 2 decimal places. Next we want to round it to 0 decimal places. So I'm going to type in the round function again, select our number, and instead of 2, I'll type in 0. Hit enter, and this is what our number looks like rounded to 0 decimal places. Next we want to round to the closest 1,000. So let's type in the round function again, select our number, and in this argument we're actually going to type in a negative number, -3. Hit enter, and that's what our number looks like. And for our last one, we're going to round this number to the closest million. So let's enter in our round function one more time, select our number, and in the number digits argument, we'll type in -6. Hit enter one more time, and now we see our number rounded to the closest million. And those are 5 functions that all project managers need to know to help them complete their project management tasks. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next video.